Hey guys, it's Ravenhurst here to bring you another champion guide featuring Azir, the Emperor of the Sands. With the meta changing, Azir is one of the most popular champions in the LCS currently. This is because he is very good at poking and sieging. He fits perfectly into nearly any team comp. Some of the main strengths of Azir is the fact that he has very good poke, he can do high amounts of damage whilst being at a very safe range, and if he sees a chance to go in, he can do a good EQ combo to get behind the enemy team and perform what people call the Shurima Shuffle, which throws either one target or multiple targets into or away from your team. Like with all champions, he does have his weaknesses. He's easy to catch, he's squishy, he has no mobility if you recently used Azir, and if his soldiers are placed in a bad place, this isn't good for Azir. There are two parts to Azir's passive. First bit is he gains attack speed with CDR, which goes hand in hand with the fact he built Morello. Second bit to his passive is the fact that he can spawn an allied turret where a fallen enemy or allied turret used to be. This turret attacks like a normal turret would, doing increased damage due to his AB scaling. Azir is unique because at level 1 he only has access to one ability to level, which is W, which spawns a sand soldier which attacks near enemy targets. His Q throws all available sand soldiers towards a current location. This can only be used if a current W is active. Azir's E. He travels towards the nearest sand soldier. If an enemy champion is in the way of Azir's E, he will gain a temporary shield and knocking them up. Azir has one of the most impressive abilities in game. He can get behind the enemy team by using a 3-skill combo. You use your W, and then as you press E, right before you get to an enemy champion, you press Q. Azir's R is where he sends multiple soldiers towards one location, pushing back all enemies and creating an impassable terrain. If an ally walks through it, they gain movement speed. This can also be combined with the Shurima Shuffle to create a type of insect play. Remember, you don't need to hit your E to be able to push someone back. For Azir, I run 2 rune pages, depends on the matchup. The one I currently use contains 1 attack speed quint with 2 AP quints, attack speed marks, CDR per level glyphs, and finally, health per level seals. A more commonly used Azir rune page looks something like this: ability power quint, magic pen marks, CDR per level glyphs, and health per level seals, but these can be replaced by flat armor if you're versus someone like Zed. A standard mage 2109 master page is really good for Azir. Taking 3 points into CDR doesn't give him the full 40% cap with Morello in level 18 glyphs, but you do get this by having the access to the blue buff camp from your jungler. For the utility tree, taking standard lane helping mastery such as increased mana and the biscuit mastery is advised. For starting items, I like to take one of 2 builds. If I'm versus someone with high poke like LeBlanc, Zed or Echo, I prefer using the fast regen build as it gives you insane lane control and the ability to push early on. Whilst if you're against a champion that you can abuse early like Kog'Maw, Ahri or Cassiopeia, starting Dawn's Ring will give you the best laning phase out of the 2. Depending on which starting build you went, you would want one of these 2 first bat builds. If you went the fast regen starting items, picking up 2 Dawn's Ring with wards with more regen will give you a lot of early game damage and you'll be very difficult to push out a lane. Whilst if you went the Dawn's Ring starting build, rushing into Morello's is your priority. Grabbing the Fiendish Codex as well as the Forbidden Idol gives you the 20% CDR, which means you attack more often as well as having more regen. You should also pick up wards and extra regen for the lane. There are 3 final builds which a lot of pros like to use when playing Azir. The first is a standard which most AP mages currently build. Morello is a core item which should be your first major item and it gives everything Azir wants and needs. Second, you should get Sork Boots as the early magic pen is mandatory. After Sorks, you should focus on getting Zhonya's as having the active effect means you can get out of sticky situations. After Luden's Echo, you should get a Voice Off if the enemy team's tanks are prioritising you. If they don't build versus you, then grabbing Luden's Echo is very good for the damage and the proc as well. You should then round out your build with the Rabadons or the Voice Off, depending on if you built the Voice Off early or not. If you are needing MR versus their team, then replacing Luden's Echo with the Scepter and building it as your second main item is mandatory. Apart from that, you build the same. The last build is when you have a high amount of farming kills. This build isn't recommended as you have low survivability, but it does give you insane damage, and it also allows you to seize down enemy towers faster than most champs, since your W is also applied to towers. For summoners, I'd recommend Flash and Barrier. You can use Flash alongside your Shuffle combo to get behind the enemy team meter to perform the pushback play, as well as getting out of bad situations. Barrier allows you to gain a temporary shield which blocks incoming damage, which is handy for when you dive into the enemy team. An alternative to Barrier would be Cleanse. This summoner spell removes current CC on your champion, as well as giving them a bit of tenacity. This summoner skill works well on Azir versus champions like Ahri or Cassiopeia, as their CC abilities can really punish Azir. Upon hitting level 2, scaling Q allows you to get a quick bit of damage onto the enemy, as well as slowing them, meaning your shoulders have a chance to get a few attacks down. You can also do this same trick under an enemy's tower safely, because you will be out of their tower range. Azir can also get out of ganks very easily. If you can manage to pull off a WQE combo without your enemies getting in the way, you'll be able to escape the gank easily. But if they get in the way of your E's pathway, this will prevent your escape. One of the more important things you do in Azir is to use your W and Q together to get CS as well as poking down the enemy laner. When you hit level 6, you can assist your jungler if the enemy jungler comes to invade. Using your WEQ combo to knock up as well as getting a shield, makes your jungler get the upper hand, as well as turning it into a 2v1. You can also use your ultimate to ensure the enemy jungler uses summoners or dies. When going for dragon, don't be afraid to use your ultimate defensively. This can be used to prevent your teammate from making mistakes. Because of Azir's early pushing power, it's very easy to overextend and push. Make sure you put wards up in case an annoying jungler or support comes to gank you. Remember, you don't always need to use your ease and escape. Use it in aggressive situations to allow for easier kills. Not only does your W spawn sand soldiers, you can use it on towers to do impressive piece of damage. You can also instantly rebuild the tower to assist you in pushing and covering your escape. If an enemy squishy gets out of position, punish them for their mistakes using the WEQ combo along with your R to push them into your team, giving easy kills and potential objective taking. Being able to know the enemy carries in your team can give you the upper hands in fights, but make sure you have a way to escape or death surely awaits you. Thank you for watching my Azir guide. Remember to give it a like, drop me a comment, and if you want to see more of my content, please subscribe. I will be doing 2 or so champion guides per week. I hope you'll join me. And remember, summoners,
never cross an emperor.